Welcome to another episode of Cannabis Tech Talks. I'm your host, Aaron Vaughn, and today we are here with Jay Sapovits, founder and president of Inked Stores. Jay, thank you so much for joining us.
Aaron, thanks. Appreciate it. Glad to be here and love the pronunciation. You got it. You nailed it. You're already off to a sharp start.
Well, I worked on it for 15 minutes.
I didn't think it would take that. That's why I go by Jay Sapp a lot of the times. It's just a lot easier.
I'll remember that, Jay Sap, for the future. So, let's get into it. Your background is one of the most eclectic we've seen, from radio to private jets to fitness apparel to cannabis swag. Is there a through line that connects all of these ventures?
Yeah. I mean, the through line is you're very similar to, look, we're an amalgamation of our parents. And I watched my dad, who was a school teacher his entire career, hate his job. And I always swore that before I would allow myself to get to that point, I would leave whatever I was doing and then move to something that made me happy. So, I've been in a lot of different industries, but the through line for me was when I would tire or burn out of a space that I was in, I would look or seek out a different opportunity. And I wasn't ever fearful of going into something that I had never been in before, because I figured that I brought fresh perspective, a new set of eyes, and experience from a different industry that a lot of people who get into the business from a business don't ever have.
Right. And Inked grew out of a failed fitness brand, right? So that's the kind of pivot a lot of entrepreneurs fear making.
Yeah.
What gave you the confidence to double down on customization instead of just calling it quits?
Yeah. I mean, we knew how to decorate. So the shift wasn't as hard as it would seem to be. We just started decorating things people wanted to buy in greater velocity. So we were decorating stability balls and medicine balls and yoga mats. And there's just not a lot of turn in the how many yoga mats do you own? How many fitness balls, stability balls do you buy? So once you'd figured out how to decorate, or we did the most difficult items, PVC and foam and all these leather, really challenging items to decorate. For us, it was just a minor tweak into starting doing things like hats and t-shirts. And then it became a function of going out and finding the clients that ordered them in the greatest velocity and applying my historical sense of how people want to be treated to this business, which is what I've always really been good at, with customer relations and client services. And I'd like to think I treat people pretty well.
Did you ever do any pool noodles in your previous business?
Yeah,
I feel like that would be a tough one when you talk about foam.
Yeah, no pool noodles.
So, cannabis brands live and die by how they differentiate themselves, right? So, how does Inked help companies cut through the noise and create merch that actually gets worn?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? That's the deal. So we excel with clients that take a consultative, that help us and want us to take a consultative approach to their swag with them. There's a lot of folks who think they know what to do, and they end up sitting on their swag a long time. I can't, if I had a dime for every cannabis company that said, nobody wants to buy our merch, or it doesn't sell, or it just sits here. Um, that it doesn't have to be the case, right? There's ways to elevate. There's ways to cut and think about your costs and design that will enhance your brand, and not, people fall in love with their brand, and it's not everybody sells. Well, I was going to say not everybody sells Coke, but Coca-Cola, right? Not everybody is that. So there's multiple reasons people wear a product. Fit, feel, and content are the number 1, 2, and 3. So fit I mean, that's a really hard one. You can't, you're not going to fit everybody, but at least you can give yourself the best chance. Feel shouldn't be so hard, but you also got to keep in mind what you like is not what somebody else likes. So when I first got in this business of the t-shirt business, I remember folks would say to me like, I want the good cotton, I want the heavy cotton. I mean, I don't want the heavy cotton. I want the tri blend. I want the soft feel, right? So everybody's different. And then content. What's it say? Is it busy? Is it simple? Is it straightforward? You know, you don't need to be around the waist or on the stuff. Full. Sometimes less is more. So I like to have those conversations, and we call it getting in the rotation. How many t-shirts do you own, Aaron?
Oh gosh, off the top of my head, I probably own 20, 25, and I wear probably 4 or 5.
Okay. So I would guess most people own 100 and wear 10 to 12. So we call that getting in the rotation. If you don't make a t-shirt that gets in the rotation, you might as well take the money and put a match to it, because it's going to sitting in the bottom of somebody's closet for $6 is not as good as being in the rotation for 10 ever. And you just have to be an adult and have those level of conversations with people. And we do. And that's a big difference for us.
Yeah, I don't think about it too much, but it's true. There are lots of T-shirts that you buy and you just don't ever wear, and they just sit there forever. Um, so, what's the most unexpected cannabis-related merch request you've ever gotten, and did you print it?
For us, we do paper bags, which are like lunch bags, and they're the to-go baggie, if you will, for a local brand, and that's pretty cool. It's recurring, and we store them in our warehouse and drop ship them, and that way, they don't have to be held on site. But yeah, we haven't really done anything what I would consider to be weird. The cannabis industry is just like it really is like every industry. I mean, just because the product happens to be what it is, they're not, the requests are not untoward or odd or weird. Obviously there's specific devices, right? I'm not doing one hitters for, Chilium glass for corporate brands. But that's just a function of the product, right? So it doesn't really deviate too much from it. I mean, the big thing I'd say relative to that is that, you don't want to try to replace, and I share this with the companies that I work with, you don't want to try to replace something somebody bought themselves with something that you're giving them for free. It's never going to be nice enough. So, again, my whole experience when we're having conversations about merch and swag is to be open-minded, to listen, to be suggestive, and try to give people a view into more than what they're thinking about for things they can put their brand on that have usage, that are fun, that have staying power, and aren't going to end up at the either bottom of the drawer, or the worst case scenario is a trash can.
So I'd like to speak to you a little bit more about, branding and marketing. So many of your clients are early stage cannabis businesses, right? And, a lot of cannabis businesses are early stage businesses. What's your advice to them when it comes to branding on a budget?
Yeah. So first off, I'm a big advocate of single print, one color t-shirts. I'd rather put my money in the product and come up with a very simple logo design or saying or something single-sided, and just try to be as cost efficient as humanly possible. So, I that's my biggest piece. That's my biggest piece of advice is, one color logos work for the greatest brands in the world. yours will survive too if it's not full color. Especially Cannabis brands, they've got these elaborate. A lot of them have elaborate designs and um, creative directors and creative departments. Uh, you know, the best creative directors I've ever worked with are the ones that are able to manipulate art to be single color and still look beautiful, but also be completely open minded towards it.
Right. Keep it simple. Um, and yeah, Inked operates with a low risk kind of web store model, right? Can you walk us through how that works and why it's such a good fit for cannabis operators
Oh,
in
for sure. I
particular?
mean, it's part of our model is we build, host, manage, and fulfill on demand company swag stores, and it's great for cannabis brands because let's face it, cannabis merch can sit, um, and we don't require any inventory, so you're not buying anything up front. You only make we only make the product when somebody buys it. So it's just a no risk way to offer merch to clients where you can make a rip and also have access to it, whether it's for employee onboarding or for forward facing clients. So, that's really our core offering of our business. I mean, we do bulk orders um, but the online on demand stores is really what accelerated our business and made us as big as we are today.
And you help dispensaries kind of build strong identities. I mean, you don't just offer merch. So, have you noticed any regional trends or branding styles that stand out in Northeast cannabis right now since it's taking off so much?
Interesting question. Nothing that stands out. Everybody has got their own vibe, and I think looking at their own deal. And it all starts at the top, branding, right? So if the owner is a swag focused merch person, then the company is going to be deep into merch. And if their owner isn't, then they aren't going to be. So yeah, I mean the trends all start at the top in these companies, and that's really that's the biggest. There's no single thread that ties everything together. That's the biggest thread I'd say industry wide that does.
So, switching to innovative technology, you've talked about blockchain. You believe in its future role in commerce. What's your take on how decentralized tech can help impact cannabis, and especially in branding and product authentication?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I attended my first blockchain hackathon in, I'm going to get my years correct, 2016, 2017. I mean, 2016 or 2017. I think that, just based on the technology and the product and banks, it's hard, right? A lot of them are still extremely restrictive in the cannabis space, and credit cards are as well. So, um, I just think that as more people adopt the technology, um, it's going to open up another financial ecosystem to transact. And yeah, I've always been open to taking crypto for payments. So yeah, I'm a believer in the technology.
And do a lot of your clients use crypto
No,
to pay? Well,
yeah,
that's a
I mean,
short answer.
no, I
Fair
mean,
enough.
it's not. It's honestly, it's an option. Um, but yeah, it's less than a handful in the years that I've offered it.
Well, maybe in the next 10 years or so, that'll change. Maybe from 2% to
It
10%.
could be. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, like I said, I'm optimistic, and I think crypto's not going anywhere, and um, it's only going to grow.
So, what's one tool or philosophy or principle that's guided you across all industries?
Yeah. So I run my. I guess I'd say I run my life with kind of on a service basis. Like I try to give back to others, especially those less fortunate than me. So I'd say that's probably the overarching source guidance that I follow. I mean, I'm just so I'm fortunate, right? I mean, I'm married a long time. I've got 3 kids that are all healthy, and own a business that's successful. And it'd be easy to think that I did it, and a lot of it I did, um, but a lot of it I didn't. And I just try to, like, I volunteer at multiple homeless shelters on a monthly basis, and try to give back to others that are not in the same position that I am. And it's fun to see when people emerge from that and pick the pieces up of their life, because there was a time that I had to. And um, that's unfortunately part of life, is falling down. And anybody who says they haven't tripped up or fallen down is probably not someone you want to spend too much time around, because they're generally not being genuine as humans.
Right. Do you get a lot of opportunity to give back some of your business advice while you're helping physically, like at homeless shelters? Do you do any sort of mentorship? Are you able to help others when they're
Yeah, I
starting
mean, those are
business?
two separate things. I think on the shelter side, with the less fortunate, a lot of those folks are really just in survival, day to day mode. That's not a let me tell you about business situation. Um, I mean, helping younger entrepreneurs or younger business people. I mean, that's something I do all the time. I just had a situation where a former colleague of mine referred a young lady who was looking for an internship in Nashville, and she was coming to me to see if I could give her a referral. And 3 meetings later, we completely revamped her resume and how she presents herself to potential hirers. And uh, I didn't need to refer her to anybody, because she had already procured an internship on her own based on the back and forth and feedback that I was able to offer her. So yeah, I try to. That's part of giving back. I try to give of myself and my experiences to younger, whether it's entrepreneurs or potential employees. Um, Many times interviews will go that route where, hey, I'm not going to hire you, but if you're open to it, I'm happy to give you feedback. And I mean, that's been greeted everything from yeah, I'd love it, to you know go f yourself, and all in between. And I gotta say, I'm never surprised at any of it. It's an amazing thing. I mean, when you ask somebody if they're willing to take some feedback and they say yes, and 30 seconds later they swear at you and hang up, uh, makes you wonder. It would not makes you wonder. It makes you say to yourself, I guess I made the right choice by not hiring them.
Right. Well, you've built Inked into a multi-million dollar company. So what's next for you? More verticals, tech integrations, Jay Sapovits masterclass.
Yeah,
What's
I'm
on the
not that
docket?
full of myself to have a master class. I'm my son of a school teacher and bookkeeper. Grew up lower to middle class. He's always prided himself on giving an honest day's work for a honest day's pay. I kind of you know grind it out. Um, that's my mantra. Um, next, just continue to run my business like I do. And I've got a bunch of employees that I love, been with me a long time. Most of them, I don't have a ton of turnover. And my goal is to just kind of do right by those folks every day and keep growing so they can. And right now, fortunately, that's what we're doing. So just treat the people around me like I want to be treated. That's the that's the day to day. That's how I go about it. And me, my clients, folks that work with me, and people like yourself who we're speaking now. So that's the deal, Aaron. It's we don't separate much in this world from the golden rule, right? Do unto others, and that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I think the golden rule in some form or another is in every single major religion. So there's probably something to it, right?
Yeah, well, religion or not, I mean, it's just it's it's in everything. right? I mean, like, how do you want to be treated? Like, you go to the grocery store, right? Or, like when you're checking out at the grocery store and somebody's not moving as fast as you want them to move, or somebody's driving too slow in front of you. And, like, there's times you drive too slow in front of people. There's times that you don't help people as fast as you should, right? So, like, how do you want to be treated in your worst? No one's as good as their best moments. No one's as bad as their worst moments. Like, you know, I'm old enough now to know that life is a roller coaster and things can go up and things can go down. And to the degree that you can smooth those roller coasters out and not be on that continuum of up and down, highs and lows, and just sort of be steady as she goes, the better life is. And, that's why, what's next is not going to be overly fantastic. And it's also not going to be overly awful. It's just going to be what's next.
Yeah, definitely wise words. I can't say I don't feel a little bit targeted, for a couple of things that you just said. When I'm in the grocery store or I'm in front of somebody who's going really slowly, but yeah, it's good to slow down and ask yourself, how would I feel? So I appreciate that. I appreciate the perspective there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we all
right.
have our moments.
Final question for you. What's the strangest slogan you've ever seen printed on a T-shirt, and did you keep it for yourself?
The strangest slogan. I mean, that's a good question. We've done some strange ones because we've done custom T-shirts for a long time now, but I can't. I don't know. Maybe it's a T-shirt that I printed for my wife. It was a picture of her when she was like in grade school, and she had this huge head of hair. It was like an afro, and it said, "Where'd you get the fro, bro?" And I wore that around for a while, and she was not that happy. But yeah, you know, people print inside jokes, and yeah, I'm not a big keep it for myself guy. It's a good question. I just I can't. I don't know. Probably we've got hundreds of thousands of T-shirts at this point, almost 1 million T-shirts at this point. I would think. I've never really thought about it or counted it up, but yeah, a lot of T-shirts.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll have to send a picture of my wife in grade school, and I'll get a T-shirt for myself.
I'd be happy to do that.
She wouldn't be, but yeah, I'd find it hilarious. Well, thank you so much, Jay. I really appreciate it. That wraps up another episode of Cannabis Tech Talks, and hope to see you soon.
Aaron, thank you.
In the world of infused edibles, gummies rule. But let's be real, not all gummies are created equal. If you're looking to make truly tasty infused gummies, Melt2Make can help. Melt2Make is committed to making gummy production simple, efficient, and all natural, offering gelatin, pectin, and sugar-free pectin gummy bases in a range of flavors. They provide step-by-step instructions, equipment lists, and dosing calculators, so whether you're established in the market or you're just getting started, Melt2Make is the perfect gummy manufacturing solution. To learn more, visit us at melt2make.com.